Okay guys, check this out. In our little Flask application that we've been putting together, now we have this little custom list that we've output. And we can click on the different links in the list to filter our data by the particular province. And we built this list using the for and for loop, which is really handy in our Flask template using Jinja, so that we can pass a data frame or a list or something to our template and then loop through it and build our list. I'm your host, Sean McKenzie. Thank you for joining me once again on my channel on data engineering. In this episode, we go back to our Flask web applications playlist in Python, and we're going to take a look at how to do a dynamic list. Now, there are so many uses for having dynamic lists, whether it's a dynamic list of buttons, or you might just want to have a list of selections or whatever. And often you want to populate that from a data frame that you might have in your Python code. And in order to do this today, we're going to be using for each and end for, and we're going to build that list. Let's get to it. Want to help support my work? Make sure to check out my Patreon. The link is in the description. Okay guys, fun one today. We are going back to our Flask application. You might remember this directory here. We've got our my app Python file, and there's our directory. And we had this world cities listing, which is in Excel. And we also had a templates folder, which has our templates in it. And we only created one template so far, and in this video what we're going to do is we're going to add another template so you get an idea of how things work when you need to add more templates. Your application will probably have many templates in it, and that's what we're going to do here today. And just like in previous episodes, we're going to go end to end, and so I'm going to open my command prompt here, and I'm going to go into my Flask folder that I showed you there on the command prompt, and we'll do that activate script there, and then we'll also do the Flask app my app run command, and that's going to start our application. And then we can go ahead and we can navigate to that. That'll be the localhost 5000, and I've actually clicked on one of the memorized links. I guess it remembered it from last time, so it's going to go to BC, which is the filtered URL. Now you might remember from previous episodes, make sure to check out how that variable works at the top there. If you change it to a different province, it will go to a different province. And if you back it up and go to the provinces page, you might remember that we just had a little placeholder, a bit of text there for our users to look at. But today, we're now going to put a list on this page, and we're going to dynamically generate it from a data frame that we're going to pass to our template. Now, opening up our Notepad++, you can see there is our province template, and that is in the templates folder, or this file is in the templates folder, and it's very short. And if you did not watch that video, you can go back, check out the card above here. You can check out how we built this page in our application. But what we're going to do is we're going to copy the top part of this template, and we're just going to paste that into a new file. So I created a new file in Notepad++ there, and we'll grab the last three lines here. Let's grab that HTML body and script line. We'll need all of those in order to have our bootstrap activated, which is nice styling that we can add to this page. And that's essentially all we need for kind of like a scaffolding for this page. So we can save it now. You can see when I hit save, it automatically goes to this templates folder here that we are working out of, and there is our previous one, province template.html, and we'll call this one province list.html, and that will get us started. That's exactly what we want to see there. You can see the path to our templates is in the template folder, and we are good to go. And let's just go ahead and add a heading on here. We could do something like an H2, and that'll give us a nice little heading that we can put on, and this will be our provinces in Canada. And so we're going to have a list of those provinces because we did create that second worksheet in the Excel book, so make sure to check that out. These files are also available for download. Make sure to check that out. And so I added one additional sheet that has a list of provinces and their abbreviations. So make sure that you get that one. And here we go. Let's open our Python file that is associated with this. This is our myapp.py that we are calling and running, and you can see each of those app routes there, or app route, depending on where you're from. Each of those goes to a page, and that one there goes to that provinces page with just one line on it. And then this province one with the, with the variable in it, with the province variable, it runs this larger block of code, and it goes to Excel, and it, grabs a data frame, and we're actually going to take that data frame, the DF provinces data frame. Now note that it's calling sheet 2 in the workbook, so it's getting a little list that we put in that workbook, and it's basically a list of abbreviations. So we're just going to cut that code from the province route there, and we're going to put that up above here so that it runs regardless of which of the pages is called. And so we're gonna post that up above, because we would like to have that DF or provinces data frame, DF underscore provinces there. We'd like to have that available for any of the tasks that we're doing inside of our application. And so whether you open one page or the other, we're going to have that available now. And there's the route for if somebody types in /provinces on our app, and that returns this little bit of text here which says provinces page, and we would like to return this province list template instead. And so we can delete this return statement here, and we are going to use that render template function just like we did in the next route, which is the province route. And all we need to do to return the template instead of our previous text is to remove the text and put in one command, return render template, and the name of our template, along with the provinces data frame, which is now available to us because we loaded it in advance. And so there is our province list.html. So now that's just going to get rendered. And we can check that out if we want, but first let's make sure that our route is working properly here. And so we'll go to our command window and see how it says Control-C to quit. We'll do that. We'll quit our application and restart it by using the up arrow and then enter, and it will restart, and it'll have the new Python running in there that we've just done. So here's our browser. I should be able to refresh this and just get our new heading. Okay, there it is. There is our new heading, and that looks like it is loading, and that means it's also loading our template, which we just created. And so that is very good news. That's what we want. And of course, now we can adjust our code in order to pass that provinces data frame into our template so that we can loop through it and create a custom list. And so what we're going to do first of all is we're going to pass the data frame for provinces to our template. Now, if you remember from how we did it down below here, we passed in the name of the template, and then we passed in a list of variables that we're going to use after we added the province template .html argument. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make a province list variable available in our template, and it's going to be equal to our provinces data frame, just like we did here where we passed in some variables to our province template. So now we have our province list template, and we're going to pass in that list of provinces as opposed to the big city list like we did before. Okay, so let's take a look at our template. Let's move that over. We'll indent that H2 there, and we will start a list here. And so we're going to start our list, and we can make that opening tag with the UL in there. We'll give it an ID. You can call it anything you like. I'll call mine myNav there. Scroll up a bit here, and we can get started. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use the loop, the for and end for loop that comes with Flask in the Jinja template here. And so this is going to be really, really nice and handy. We can use that opening tag, the curly brace with the %sign, and then we can go for, now you could be using a list, so you might just go for I in, list. But in our case, we're using a data frame, so we're going to use for index and row in province list. So that's going to give us the index and the row, and the row is a series and it has each of the fields in it. So we'll say for index row in province list dot iter rows, and that's going to iterate over our data frame here, and we'll put that closing tag on, and that starts our loop. And so inside of our loop, we're going to create our list items, and we'll do that just like we do in HTML. We'll do that li tag there, and we'll put, in this case, I'm just going to put a hyperlink in there, and our hyperlink will go to localhost in this case. So we'll just do our localhost and provinces, and then of course we're going to use that double curly brace in order to get an expression. Now we did expressions in a previous episode, make sure to check that out, but we're going to evaluate the row abbreviation, so we're going to dynamically create the provinces slash BC or provinces slash AB for Alberta, and that's really awesome. It's going to be nice and handy. We can stick that directly into our hyperlink there with the abbreviation. We can finish that starting tag, and then inside of the hyperlink I'll just put the province name, and that is going to be the nice descriptive name that we'll get from the row series there, and that is an expression which is inside of the double curly braces you see there. And then we'll end our hyperlink tag, and we'll end our list item tag, and that is all we're doing inside of the loop. So of course, after we've finished what we're doing inside of the loop, we'll finish our loop. And so we're going to use that end for, and that is going to run over and over again until we get to the end of that province list. Let's close our list tag as well. So now we've got the start and end tags for our list, and we've got our list items in there, and those are hyperlinks, and that is our href there. And then we've got our description, which is the nice descriptive text for the province, and we've got our closing tags. And so very simple, very nice and easy to use. There is the end of our loop, and our closing tag. Very simple. Let's go ahead and give this a try and see what we get. Just like before, we'll pull up our command window, and as you can see, the Control-C to quit, we'll use that, and that will quit our Flask application. You can use the up arrow to get our last command to rerun it, and there you can see that it is running again. If I hit refresh on it, you can see that we've got a nice list here. It is not really styled or anything, and if I click on there, oh, it looks like it is broken already. Oh, I broke it already. So let's go and find that out. I think that's, we're missing the 5000. So we're missing the port 5000 in our local host. Let's go ahead and put that in, because when you are running it locally, we are running it on port 5000, unless you've changed that in your settings. So let's save that, and then we can go back to our browser here. I guess we have to restart it as well. Yeah, we can't do refresh on the fly. So we'll stop it with Control-C and rerun it just like we did before. And then we can go ahead and now let's refresh that. We'll go to our 5000 to start with. There we go. There's our list, and that'll pull up the refreshed list. And now we should get something here. If we click on BC, that looks more promising. Okay, so we've got it. This is our list is now directing us to the filtered list for each of the provinces. So there's British Columbia. If I click on Alberta, it should give me the Alberta cities, and we can see how that goes. That looks right. Calgary and Edmonton and Red Deer. And that's exactly what we want to see there. Now that list isn't very nice. I suppose we can add a little bit of styling to our list because we are using the Bootstrap library attached to it there. So we can actually add a class to our list. This is the most basic class. Very nice because we've referenced Bootstrap in there, so we can say class equals list group in the starting tag for the list, and then inside of each of the items start tags we can put in list group item, and that'll give us sort of a little delineated list, which will make it a little bit nicer to look at, and will also look nicer if you have it inside of a div that is constrained. It'll give you a nice little list there. But we're just gonna go ahead, we'll stop and start our app just like we did before, and we can see what we get when we restart that one. So I restarted the app there. It's running on port 5000 just like before. Let's grab our browser and let's hit refresh on that. Okay, so that looks a little nicer. Now, like I said, if you combine this with some spacing and things like that, it could look a little nicer. This would actually look a lot better on a mobile phone because it is quite a bit smaller for that list, but you can see this list is now styled a little bit, and it has been generated using our for loop, and that is super handy. You can use it for all kinds of things. We could have even generated this list here using that same method, although it was easier to use the HTML that was generated by pandas for that. So two ways of generating lists. This is a nice way of doing it. Now you guys have those tools in your toolkit for when you develop a little Flask application for your users. And there it is. There is our list, and inside of our list we've got our for statement, and then at the end our end for, and in between that, of course, we've got our row abbreviation that was included in our URL, and then we've got the full name of the province in the description, and so that looks much nicer. That's how you build a list from a data frame with Flask. Do you have your remote desktop computer open to the internet? Make sure to use my BZ RDP cloaker. It'll make things faster and safer.